I'm standing barefoot on the frozen porch while December wind cuts through my thin sweater, the Christmas lights behind me flickering like they're laughing at my misery. My stepmother's voice still echoes in my head. "You've always been nothing, Maya, just dead weight." Then the black garbage bag hit my chest and the front door slammed so hard the welcome mat shifted. My father didn't even look at me as the deadbolt clicked into place. Perfectly decorated mansions line both sides of the street, their warm golden windows mocking my situation. There I stand, shivering in the snow, with no coat, no wallet, and no family willing to acknowledge I exist. A neighbor across the street peeks through her curtains, then quickly looks away, pretending she didn't just witness the Hendersons throw their 23-year-old daughter out like yesterday's newspaper. My phone is dead, my emergency funds totals exactly $47, and the wind is getting colder by the second. For the first time in my life, I truly understand what it feels like to be completely alone. And that's when my frozen fingers brush something in my jeans pocket, a small velvet pouch I'd forgotten about. The antique bronze key my grandmother gave me when I was 7, the one she said to keep safe until I needed it most. I finally managed to move my numb feet toward my beat-up Honda Civic parked at the curb. The snow makes the sidewalk slick and I nearly fall twice. My hands shake so violently I can barely grip the door handle. Inside the car, I sit there, breath fogging the windshield, staring at my childhood home, now locked behind doors, my own father sealed against me. I replay the scene from an hour earlier. Christmas Eve dinner was supposed to be special. I'd cooked for 6 hours. My stepmother complained about every dish. My father nodded along like he always does. Then my half-brother Tyler announced he'd been accepted to Stanford Law School. Everyone cheered. When I mentioned my promotion at work, silence. When I asked if they help with the deposit on my new apartment, my stepmother laughed and said, "We've already spent enough on you." That's when the real fight started. She accused me of being ungrateful, of leeching off the family. My father sat there saying nothing as she grabbed a garbage bag from the kitchen and started stuffing random items into it. "This is everything you deserve," she hissed. "Get out of my house." My father still said nothing. He just watched as his wife of 8 years threw his daughter into the snow on Christmas Eve. The man who used to carry me on his shoulders, who used to call me his little star, now couldn't even meet my eyes. The key in my palm feels warm despite the cold. My grandmother died 5 years ago, but I remember her words clearly. "This key opens something special, sweetheart, something your grandfather left for you. Keep it safe and use it only when you have nowhere else to turn." I never understood what she meant until now. The key has a small inscription on the side, First National Trust Vault 372. I drive through empty streets, my car heater barely functional, Christmas songs playing softly on the radio. That feels cruel now. I find a 24-hour diner and park outside. The neon sign flickers as I push through the door. A tired waitress looks up and offers a small sympathetic smile. "Just coffee," I manage to say, sliding into a corner booth. My grandmother's key sits on the table in front of me, catching the fluorescent light. The waitress returns with coffee and pauses. "You look like you're having a rough night, honey." I nod, unable to speak. She pats my shoulder gently, "Hang in there," and disappears back behind the counter. I spend 3 hours in that diner, nursing the same cup of coffee, researching First National Trust on my phone. There's a branch downtown that opens at 9. Tomorrow, my grandmother had an account there, that much I know, but she was never wealthy. She lived in a small apartment, collected Social Security, barely had enough for groceries. How could she have left me anything valuable? I curl up in my back seat that night, using my jacket as a blanket. The temperature drops to 18 degrees. My body shakes uncontrollably as I drift in and out of consciousness. I dream of my grandmother, her warm hands, her soft voice, the way she always looked at me like I was precious. When morning comes, my whole body aches. I find a gas station bathroom to wash my face and make myself presentable. Then I drive to First National Trust. The building is elegant with marble columns and brass fixtures, the kind of place that makes you feel underdressed just walking through the door. A receptionist in her 50s looks up as I approach. "Good morning, how can I help you?" I pull out the bronze key, my voice shaking. "My grandmother gave me this. She said it opens Vault 372. The receptionist's expression changes immediately. Something flickers in her eyes. Recognition, maybe, or surprise. She picks up her phone and speaks quietly into it. A moment later, she looks back at me. "Please have a seat, miss. Someone will be with you shortly." I wait for what feels like forever, my leg bouncing with nervous energy. Finally, a man in an expensive gray suit appears, his silver hair perfectly combed, his expression carefully neutral. "Miss Henderson, I'm Richard Calloway, the branch manager. Would you please follow me?" My heart pounds as we walk down a long corridor lined with portraits of stern-looking founders. His office is enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He gestures to a leather chair, and I sink into it. "Before we proceed," he says, "I'll need to verify your identity." I hand him my driver's license with trembling fingers. He studies it, types something on his computer, and waits. The silence stretches unbearably. Finally, he turns the monitor toward me. "Miss Henderson, your grandmother established a legacy trust in your name 30 years ago. It was funded entirely by your grandfather before his death." I stare at him confused. My grandfather died before I was born. I never knew him. Mr. Calloway nods. "That's correct. He passed in 1992, but he spent the last decade of his life building something specifically for you." "For me?" I whisper, "but he never even met me." Mr. Calloway's expression softened slightly. "Your grandmother kept him informed. She sent photos, letters, updates on your life. He knew everything about you, and he wanted to ensure you'd be protected." Protected from what? From exactly what happened to you last night. The words hit me like a physical blow. "How do you know about last night?" "Your grandmother added a clause to the trust," Mr. Calloway explains. "If you ever accessed this vault under distressed circumstances, we were instructed to provide immediate support. She knew your father. She knew what he was capable of." My throat tightens. My grandmother knew all along. She prepared for this. Mr. Calloway slides a folder across the desk. Inside, you'll find documentation of your inheritance. Before I open it, I should warn you, this may be overwhelming. I stare at the folder, my hands frozen. "What do you mean?" "Your grandfather was not a poor man, Miss Henderson. In fact, he was quite the opposite. He made his fortune in commercial real estate and strategic investments. He liquidated most of his assets before his death and placed everything in this trust for you." My mouth goes dry. Everything. Mr. Calloway turns the monitor so I can see the account summary. And for a moment, the world stops spinning. The number on the screen doesn't make sense. It can't be real. There are too many zeros, too many commas. $58.4 million. I grip. He armrests so hard my knuckles turn white. "That can't be right." "It is," Mr. Calloway says calmly. "And this is only the liquid assets. There are also properties, investment portfolios, and shares in several companies." I can't breathe. The room tilts sideways. I close my eyes, trying to anchor myself to something real. Just yesterday, I was sleeping in my car with $47 to my name. Just yesterday, I was thrown out like garbage. Mr. Calloway continues, "Your grandfather anticipated your family situation. He specifically structured this trust to be inaccessible to anyone but you, including your father." "My father," I whisper. "He doesn't know about this?" "No, and your grandmother insisted it stay that way. She feared he would try to take it from you." The tears come before I can stop them. Everything I believed about my family, about my worth, about my place in the world, crumbles and rebuilds itself in a single moment. "There's more," Mr. Calloway says gently. He slides a sealed envelope across the desk. "Your grandmother left this for you to read when the time came." I take it with shaking hands. My grandmother's handwriting covers the front. For my darling Maya, when you finally understand. I open it carefully, pulling out a letter written on pale blue paper. My sweet girl, if you're reading this, then what I feared has finally happened. Your father has shown his true colors, just as I always knew he would. I need you to understand something important. You were never unwanted. You were never a burden. Everything they told you was a lie, designed to keep you small and controllable. Your grandfather loved you before you were even born. He spent years building this legacy specifically for you because he saw what I saw, a bright, beautiful soul trapped in a house full of people who couldn't appreciate her. Your father changed after he married that woman. She poisoned him against everyone, including you. But you are still the little girl I held in my arms. You are still worthy of love and protection. Use this gift to build the life you deserve. Do not let them back in. Do not let them take what is rightfully yours. And know that wherever I am watching over you with all the love in my heart. Forever yours, Grandma Rose. I press the letter to my chest, sobbing openly. Mr. Calloway sits quietly, giving me space to process. When I finally look up, he offers a box of tissues and a glass of water. What happens now? I manage to ask. Now, Mr. Calloway says, we transfer control of all assets to you. We set up proper security measures, and we connect you with our estate management team. But first, I need to inform you of one additional detail. I tense. What detail? Your grandmother also left instructions for us to investigate if anyone ever tried to access your trust illegally. Over the years, we've documented several attempts. My blood runs cold. Attempts by whom? Mr. Calloway's expression hardens. By your stepmother. She contacted our branch 6 times, claiming to be acting on your behalf. Each time, we denied access per your grandmother's instructions. 6 times? I breathe. She knew about this? She's known for years. It appears so. And based on our records, your father was present for at least 2 of those attempts. The betrayal cuts deeper than anything they did last night. They didn't just reject me, they were actively trying to steal from me. Mr. Calloway slides another document across the desk. Your grandmother anticipated this possibility. She left detailed instructions for legal action if needed. Legal action? I repeat. Yes, we have a firm on retainer, specifically for situations like this. I stare at the document, my mind racing. 24 hours ago, I had nothing. Now I have more money than I ever imagined, and evidence that my family tried to steal it. What would you recommend? I ask. Mr. Calloway leans forward. His voice professional but kind. First, we secure your assets and ensure you have safe accommodations. Then we contact our legal team and review your options. But ultimately, Miss Henderson, the choice is yours. Your grandmother wanted you to have power for the first time in your life, and now you do. I nod slowly, something shifting inside me. I've spent my whole life feeling powerless, controlled by people who saw me as an inconvenience. But my grandmother saw me differently. She planned for years to give me freedom. I want to know everything, I say, my voice stronger. I want to see all the documents, every attempt they made, every lie they told. Mr. Calloway nods approvingly. I'll have everything prepared by end of day. In the meantime, let me introduce you to Eleanor Martinez. She's our client relations specialist. She'll help you with immediate needs. A woman appears at the door, tall and elegant with kind eyes. She extends her hand. Miss Henderson, it's an honor to meet you. Your grandmother spoke of you often. She knew my grandmother? I ask. Eleanor smiles. I've worked here for 20 years, Rose, visited regularly. She wanted to make sure everything was perfect for you. The tears return. My grandmother spent decades preparing for a day she might never see, all because she loved me that much. Eleanor leads me to a private suite within the bank. There's a sitting area, a small kitchen, fresh clothes in my size. Somehow she thinks of everything. Your grandmother left instructions, Eleanor explains. She wanted you to have a safe space to process everything. Take all the time you need. I sink onto the couch, overwhelmed. What do I do now? Eleanor sits across from me. Whatever you want, she says. She says simply, you could travel, you could buy a home, you could invest, you could do nothing at all. The point is, you have choices now. Choices? The word feels foreign. I've never had choices. Everything in my life has been dictated by others. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. My stepmother's voice would be acid if words could burn. We know what you did at the bank. Return what belongs to this family immediately. I show Eleanor the message. She takes my phone and forwards it to a secure email. This will go to legal, she says. They're already working on documenting the harassment. Harassment, I murmur. They're claiming I stole something that was always mine. Eleanor nods. That's their pattern. They rewrite history to suit themselves. But we have records, evidence, truth. They have nothing but desperation. Over the next hours, I learn more about my family than I ever knew. My grandfather built his fortune from nothing, starting with a single property and growing it into an empire. My grandmother managed the finances after his death, carefully investing and growing the trust for 30 years. I also learn about the attempts to access my inheritance. My stepmother posed as me twice, forging documents that our legal team immediately flagged. My father signed affidavits, claiming I was mentally incompetent, which the bank refused to accept without medical documentation. They tried to have me declared unfit, Eleanor explains. It's a common tactic for people trying to seize assets. The court rejected it, of course, but the attempt is documented. I feel sick. My own father tried to have me declared mentally incompetent so he could steal my inheritance? By evening, I'm exhausted, but the pieces of my new life are falling into place. A security team has been assigned, a temporary apartment arranged, lawyers briefed. Mr. Calloway returns with a final document. Miss Henderson, there's one more thing. Your grandmother wanted you to have. He places a leather journal on the table, worn and well-loved. My grandmother's handwriting fills every page. She kept this journal since the day you were born, Eleanor says softly. It contains everything she wanted you to know about your family, about your grandfather, about the love that went into creating this legacy. I hold the journal like it's the most precious thing in the world, because it is. This is my grandmother's heart, her thoughts, her hopes for me. That night in my new apartment, I read every page by lamplight. My grandmother documents everything, the day I was born, the first time I smiled, the moment she realized my father's new wife was dangerous. One entry stands out, dated 8 years ago. I watched Maya today through the window of their house. She looked so small, so sad. Already, she hides herself, tries to be invisible to avoid criticism. I cannot save her yet, but I promise I will give her the tools to save herself someday. She saw everything. She knew I was suffering, and she couldn't intervene directly, but she planned, she prepared, she loved me from a distance. When no one else would, the next morning, I wake to a dozen missed calls from blocked numbers and an email from our legal team. Your family has retained an attorney. They're claiming elder abuse and financial manipulation regarding your grandmother. The accusation makes me laugh bitterly. They're accusing me of the exact crimes they attempted. I meet with the legal team at the bank that afternoon. Victoria Chen leads the group, a sharp woman in her 40s who radiates competence. They're grasping at straws, she says, flipping through their filing. They have no evidence because there is no evidence. Your grandmother was of sound mind, fully competent, and deliberate in her decisions. We have medical records, witness statements, and 30 years of documentation. What do we do? I ask. We counter, Victoria says aggressively. We file harassment charges. We present evidence of their attempted fraud. We make it very clear that continuing this path will have consequences. Consequences, I repeat, criminal charges, potentially. Victoria's eyes are sharp. Your stepmother forged documents. Your father signed false affidavits. These are crimes. The reality of it settles over me. My family committed actual crimes trying to steal from me. I authorize everything, I say, my voice steady. Go after them. Victoria nods, satisfied. We'll begin immediately, but I should warn you, this will get ugly before it gets better. I think about the years of verbal abuse, the constant criticism, the way they made me feel worthless. Let it, I say. I'm done being afraid of them. Over the following weeks, everything accelerates. Victoria files counterclaims, my stepmother is served with fraud charges, my father faces perjury allegations. The harassment doesn't stop, but now every message, every threat, every attempt to contact me is documented and added to our case. I find an apartment I love, a sunny 2-bedroom with huge windows and a view of the park. I buy furniture that makes me happy, not what someone else picked out. I start therapy to process decades of manipulation. I adopt a cat named Luna who curls up on my lap while I read my grandmother's journal. One afternoon while shopping for plants, I literally bump into someone at the garden center, a tall man with warm brown eyes and an easy smile. I'm so sorry, he says, steadying me. I wasn't watching where I was going. No, it's my fault, I insist. We both laugh. His name is Daniel, and he's a pediatric surgeon at the children's hospital. We end up talking for an hour over coffee at the cafe next door. He's kind and genuine and doesn't make me feel like I need to prove anything. We exchange numbers, and I find myself smiling for the first time in weeks, not because of the money or the legal victories, but because of simple human connection. Daniel texts that evening. Hope this isn't too forward, but I really enjoyed talking with you. Any chance you'd want to get dinner sometime? I stare at my PA. One heart-fluttering, I'd love that. I type back the next few weeks are a strange mixture of legal battles and unexpected joy. The case against my family progresses steadily. Their attorney withdraws, citing ethical concerns. They try to hire new representation, but Victoria's reputation precedes her. No one wants to take a losing case. I find myself falling for Daniel faster than I expected. He brings me flowers for no reason. He laughs at my terrible jokes. He holds my hand during the difficult therapy sessions. I can finally attend without fear of my family finding out. One night over dinner, he asks about my family. I hesitate, then tell him everything. The abuse, the abandonment, the inheritance, the legal fight. He listens without judgment. When I finish, he reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. Your grandmother sounds incredible. She was, I say, tears pricking my eyes. I just wish she could see me now. Maybe she can, Daniel says softly. Maybe she's been watching all along, making sure her plan worked. The final hearing arrives on a cold February morning. I walk into the courthouse wearing a beautiful navy suit purchased with my own money for the first time in my life. I sit beside Victoria, my shoulders straight, my head held high. My father and stepmother are already there. They look different, smaller somehow. Their expensive clothes and practiced composure can't hide the desperation in their eyes. The judge reviews the evidence for 2 hours. Victoria presents document after document, proof of fraud, proof of harassment, proof of decades of financial manipulation. When my stepmother takes the stand, she tries her usual tactics: tears, deflection, blame. The judge cuts her off repeatedly. My father doesn't testify. His attorney advised against it. Victoria tells me during a break. Apparently he cracked during preparation, started contradicting himself. The judgment comes swiftly and decisively. Criminal referrals for both of them, a permanent restraining order, substantial financial penalties to cover my legal costs. As I leave the courthouse, my father approaches me. Maya, wait, please. I turn, facing him for the first time since Christmas Eve. He looks old, broken. I didn't know, he says, his voice cracking. She told me the money was rightfully ours. She said your grandmother was manipulating you. I thought I was protecting you. I stare at him, searching for any trace of the father who once loved me. You threw me out on Christmas Eve, I say. You signed documents trying to have me declared mentally incompetent. You knew about the trust, and you tried to steal it. He has no response, just tears. I spent 23 years trying to earn your love, I continue, my voice steady now. I realize it was never mine to earn. You gave it away the moment you chose her over me. I walk away and I don't look back. Daniel is waiting outside the courthouse. He opens his arms and I fall into them, finally letting the tears come. But these are different tears, cleansing, healing, free. It's over, I whisper. No, he says gently, kissing my forehead. It's just beginning. He's right. Months later, I stand on the porch of my grandmother's old house, which I purchased and restored. I hold Luna in my arms, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. Daniel comes up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. Ready for dinner, he asks. Almost. I smile. There's something I want to do first. I walk to the garden where my grandmother spent so many hours and place a small plaque beside her favorite rosebush. For Rose, who saw me when no one else did, and loved me enough to set me free. Daniel takes my hand. We stand there in comfortable silence, honoring the woman who changed everything. That night at dinner, he places a small velvet box on the table. I know it's soon, he says, his voice nervous, but Maya, I've never been more certain. Of anything in my life, I open the box and find a beautiful ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. My grandmother always said I'd know when I found the right person. She said it would feel like coming home. I look at Daniel and realize this is it. This is home. Yes, I whisper 1,000 times. Yes, he slides the ring onto my finger and we both laugh through tears. The restaurant erupts in applause around us. Later, I think about the journey that brought me here. The pain, the betrayal, the discovery, the healing. My grandmother couldn't save me from the fire, but she made sure I'd have wings to rise from the ashes. If you've made it this far, thank you for sharing my story with me. If you've ever felt trapped, undervalued, or thrown away, I hope my journey reminds you that your worth isn't determined by the people who fail to see it. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a new chapter. There's more to come, and I'd love for you to stay with me as we keep moving forward together.